are certain sounds that a Nigerian boarding school student never forgets. The clang of the morning bell at 5 a.m. The noise of buckets scraping across bathroom floors during prep hours. The whisper of seniors giving punishment in the dark. But there is one sound that is in a category entirely on its own. Koi, koi, koi. Slow, deliberate, unhurried. The sound of high heels moving through a long, dark corridor at 2 a.m. when every single student is supposed to be asleep. Some will tell you it's just a story, something seniors invented to keep the juniors in line. A tale passed down like bad food in a dining hall, stale, recycled, but somehow still swallowed. But then there are the others, softer, the ones who go quiet when you bring her name up, the ones who will look away, the ones who will say with absolute certainty, I heard it, I was there, and they will never forget the night Madame Koi Koi came to their door. This is the story of Madame Koi Koi. No one knows her real name. It was swallowed long ago, buried under decades of fear and whispered warnings. But everyone knows what to call her. Madame Koi Koi. She's not just a ghost, not just a spirit. She is a legend that has lived in the walls of Nigerian boarding schools for generations. In Government College Umuahia, in Federal Government Girls College Buari, in Queen's College Lagos, in schools whose names have changed but whose corridors still remember. They say she was once a teacher. Beautiful, poised, the kind of woman who walked into a room and changed the temperature of it. She always wore red. A red dress sometimes, or a red blouse, or red lipstick so sharp it looked painted on with a fine brush. And always, her heels. Those heels. High, pointed, loud. You could hear her coming from the other end of the block. Koi, koi, koi. That sound announced her before she even appeared. Students would straighten up, voices would drop, laughter would die in people's throats. Because behind that elegance, behind that beauty, was something that made grown teenagers tremble. She was strict, brutally strict, the kind of teacher who believed that discipline was not just a policy, it was a calling. She would flog for talking, flog for slouching, flog for looking at her the wrong way. Some students hated her quietly, some hated her loudly, in whispers, in letters passed between beds at night. And then one day, something happened. This is the part where the stories begin to split. Ask 10 different people and you will get 10 different answers. Some say it was the students. That one afternoon, after years of cruelty and humiliation, something inside them finally snapped. That a group of them, older boys, final year students, waited for her after school. That words were exchanged, then worse things than words. Some say she was mocked for those heels, the very thing that was her signature, her pride, her identity. That they laughed at her, that they called her names, and that in that moment, something inside her broke in a way that could not be repaired. Others say it was an accident, that she was on the top floor of one of the school buildings, the old ones with iron railings and cracked walls, and that she slipped or was pushed, and that as she fell, you could hear those heels one last time, koi, koi, all the way down. But what every single version of the story agrees on, from Lagos to Kaduna, from Enugu to Sokoto, is this. She died on school grounds, and she never left. Her spirit stayed behind. Some say out of anger, some say out of unfinished business. Some say she is looking for the students who wronged her. Others say she has simply forgotten how to leave. But every night, in the deep quiet after lights out, she walks. You have to understand what a Nigerian boarding school feels like at 2 in the morning. There are no street lights inside the dormitory blocks. The only light is whatever sneaks in through the louvers, pale, blue, unreliable. 40, 50 students packed into a single room. Iron bunk beds so close together you can hear the person next to you breathing. The smell of sleeping bodies, rub ointment, cheap soap, and the particular stillness of rooms that never fully air out. And silence. The deep, heavy silence of exhausted children. Worn down by morning assembly, 6 hours of class, manual labor, prep, and the dinner that was never quite enough. Everyone is asleep. Or at least, everyone is pretending, because some of you are awake. You don't know why, you just are, staring at the ceiling, listening to the dark. And then, Koi, you blink. You think, was that? Koi, your body goes rigid before your brain has even finished processing it. Some ancient animal part of you already knows. Koi. The person on the bunk above you stops shifting. The boy across the room holds his breath. Nobody says a word. Nobody has to. Because everyone who has ever spent a term in a Nigerian boarding school knows the rule. When you hear those heels, you do not move. You do not speak. You do not open your eyes. You pray. The footsteps get louder. She is in the corridor now, moving slowly, deliberately, as if she has nowhere to be and all of eternity to get there. Koi. Past the first room, past the second. Your heart is a fist slamming against the inside of your chest. Your mouth is dry. Your hands are gripping your blanket so hard your knuckles ache. And then the footsteps pause right outside your door. This is it. This is the moment every story has been building toward. Because Madame Koi does not walk past every door. She stops. She chooses. And nobody alive, nobody who will tell you this story in the light of day, knows exactly what she is looking for when she chooses. Some say she can sense fear, that she follows the feeling of it, the way a flame follows air. Some say she knows who the bad ones are, the bullies, the students who made other students cry, the ones who thought they were untouchable. And some say she is not particular at all, that she simply picks. The silence outside your door stretches so long, it becomes its own kind of sound. Then you hear it, slowly, softly, a knock. Not a hard knock, not a bang, a polite knock, 3 times. The kind of knock a teacher would give before entering a classroom. And then the voice, low, measured, almost sweet. I know you're awake. Nobody breathes. I can hear you. The rule, the most important rule, the one that has been passed from senior to junior for 40 years is this: do not answer. Because the ones who answered, the ones who thought it was a prank or a senior playing games or their minds deceiving them, the ones who said, "Who is it?" or "Come in," or even just whispered, "Yes," They found those ones in the morning, they say, sitting upright in their beds, eyes open, but not seeing anything, not anymore. They are students, grown men and women now, with children and careers and gray hairs, who will still lower their voices when they talk about this. A man who went to a federal government college in the 80s will tell you that in his SS2 year, 3 boys in his dormitory disappeared in 1 week. Administration said transfer, parents said transfer, but the boys in that room said something different. A woman who boarded in the 90s will tell you she heard those footsteps every term without fail, and that the one night they were loudest was the same night her bunkmate woke up screaming and could not explain why, could not explain anything for days. These are not people who traffic in superstition. These are accountants, lawyers, engineers, and yet they all remember the sound. People will tell you Madam Koi Koi is just a myth, a disciplinary tool, a story invented by school authorities or by creative seniors to keep restless students locked in their beds after lights out, to stop night wandering, to enforce a silence that rules alone could not enforce. And maybe that's true. Maybe. But here's what's interesting. Ask a student from Wari, ask one from Zaria, ask one from Owerri or Jos or Maiduguri. The details shift, the school changes, the decade changes, but the story doesn't. Same red dress, same heels, same corridor, same knock. How does a myth stay that consistent across 40 years and 36 states? How does a made-up story make a 40-year-old man go quiet in the middle of telling it? That's the part nobody has a clean answer for. So, tonight, if you find yourself somewhere quiet, if the lights are low and the hour is late and the house feels just slightly too still, and you hear something outside, not a car, not the wind, something rhythmic, something deliberate, something that sounds, if you hold your breath and really listen, like heels on a hard floor. Don't move. Don't call out. Don't, whatever you do, open that door. Because Madam Koi Koi does not need an invitation. She only needs you to answer. And if you don't answer, sometimes she still comes in. Koi, Koi, Koi. If this story got under your skin, good. That means it's working. Madam Koi Koi is just the beginning, because in this channel, we are going to delve deep into Nigerian folklore, mythical legends, and the stories your grandparents knew but never fully explained. So if you enjoyed the video, please like this video, subscribe, and turn on your notifications, because the next story is going to be worse. I promise you. And before you go, drop it in the comments. Did your school have a Madam Koi Koi story? Did you ever hear the heels yourself? Tell me everything. I will read every single one. Until next time, this is the Wordsmith signing out. Peace.